All right, good morning, everyone. Good morning, guys. Welcome back. Happy Tuesday, everyone. Happy Tuesday, guys. Welcome back. Back with another London session. Hope everyone's doing well. Good morning, Chow. Good morning. Good morning. If anyone is new here, my name is Aaron Trades. I've been trading for about 7 years. Mainly focus on trading gold futures here in the Asian and London session. I've been streaming on my own channel for the past 3 years. And now we're streaming here on Topstep with you guys. So good to be back on. Good to see some familiar faces here as well. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back. Let me just do this. How's everyone's? Hello from Melbourne. Hello from Memphis. Nice. So someone's from New Zealand as well, which is cool. Got people from all over as always, which is amazing. Australia, New Zealand, Europe, America. Amazing. Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. Hope everyone's having a good week so far. One thing I will do before we start and get straight in here, let's have a quick look at the fundamentals. I know there isn't really too much this week. Nothing too crazy. Oh no, I've lost it. Have I lost it? Where's it gone? Let me just have a look here on my side here. In terms of US dollar news, we don't have anything too big this week. We've got some Canadian dollar news today at 1:30 London time, and then we do have some core retail sales tomorrow. And obviously, you guys, it is an earlier week this week with Easter Friday coming up. So a bit of a quieter week from France, India, nice, Slovakia, awesome. From Byron Bay, nice. Just down the road, South Africa, awesome. Guatemala, very nice. From the but wanting to try a London session, nice. Well, welcome, man. Welcome. Hopefully, you will get some value here in today's stream. We've seen a very nice push up here in gold during the Asian session. For you guys who have been watching me, you know the way that I like to trade is I like to try and see what are most people trying to do and how can I take advantage of it. And we actually saw this incredible push up here in the Asian session. Audio and video good, perfect. Thank you, man. Thank you. If my camera does freeze at any point, guys, feel free to let me know. Hopefully, it should be all good today. Apologies about that. I'm back home today. The office Wi-Fi has been a bit temperamental this week, so we're streaming from home today for you guys. So we saw a very nice push up here in the Asian session. Let me just close this door, guys. Sorry, 2 seconds. It's a little bit noisy. 2 seconds. I was getting some fresh air on the balcony before jumping on with you guys. Yeah, we saw this very nice push up here in the Asian session, and my thought process today was kind of what we've been speaking about for quite some time. Is I was imagining a lot of people will be probably trying to short gold a little bit too early here, and that's why I was looking for longs here on gold. You had this fantastic liquidity grab of these lows here, and just this incredible breakout here on gold. Absolutely phenomenal push. And I have taken 2 trades so far today. 2 trades so far. I've taken 1 loss and 1 31 tick push, which I'll break down for you guys as well. But one thing I wanted to do with you guys is before we do anything, let's go to the higher time frame. And you guys on YouTube, I'm just interested. If you just post in the YouTube chat, where do we think gold is going on an intraday time frame? Do we think gold's going higher? Do we think gold's going low? What does everyone think? I'm interested to hear everyone's thoughts right now. I know obviously all-time highs were overall bullish, but on an intraday perspective, what do we all think? Do we think some new highs today on gold? Do we think we're going to have a little bit of a pullback? What's everyone's thought process? Just by looking at this chart before I kind of break it down, and you guys will see why. Higher, down, higher, to the moon, up, Asian highs, nice, cool. Again, guys, there's no right or wrong answer here. If anyone thinks down, that's totally fine. There's no right or wrong answer. High in London, pull back in New York, down, nice. Up only, higher, cool. Uncertainty is still very high. Welcome back, Patrick. Middle of the diddle. Higher. Yeah, not much of a wick on the daily. I agree. Depends on a certain person opening the mouth. Yeah, that's very true. The reason I was interested to ask is because we're in a little bit of a range here on gold. We are in a little bit of a range. Now, what's interesting to see is yesterday actually closed bearish after hitting all-time highs on Friday. We actually started to find some resistance. So the daily is creating a little bit of a range. That's why there's no real right or wrong answer here. You can kind of see the 4 hour, is starting to find some resistance. But you can also see, we are starting to find some major support. So you kind of see you do have a lot of levels here on gold. That's why I was interested to see, and it looks like most people are saying higher, and some people were saying bearish, which when I come onto the charts on days like this where I have and this is the 4 hour, we'll drop down much lower when we actually look for trades. John's pockets. When I come on days like this on the charts and I can see the daily start to find some resistance, we are creating some big intraday ranges. I come onto the charts on days like this with a much more neutral approach to the markets. I'm much more adaptive in these times. I can be open to the fact that we may come back down and retest these Asia lows, and I'm also open to the fact that we may actually come up and retest these all-time highs. But the key is here today, because yesterday did actually close bearish, I am more neutral on today. And, I could be looking for longs or I could be looking for shorts. I'm very, very reactive. When I came onto the charts yesterday, well, yesterday I'm basing trades off the previous day. And the previous day was a 700 tick bullish candle. So buys yesterday were really nice. But now today's actually closed, you kind of say a little bit doji, a little bit indecisive. And actually bearish. I could justify sells today a lot more than yesterday. Now, it doesn't mean I'm just going to be shorting, but it means I am open to either side of the markets today. I'm open to either side. So we can see the 4 hour is hitting some pretty nice resistance here on gold. We're coming pretty much into 32.50, which is a nice big level here on gold. So we have some very strong 4 hour support sitting here on gold. Resistance, and we do have some big support sitting down here on gold. So we are currently working within a bit of a range today on gold. However, that is that's a 100 tick range. That's, still very, very tradable, but it's something to keep in the back of the mind. We are in a little bit of a range here today. After we saw Asia have a very, very nice move up, we had a beautiful, where's our tool? We had a beautiful liquidity grab to the lows and a fantastic breakout. And we were just on the pre-London stream, and we were saying, this hourly has actually closed pretty bearish. So now I'm like, could we maybe come down and retest these hourly lows, hold this support, maybe retest some of this Asia level before, we then see that big continuation higher? Very possible. Very, very, very possible. Does that mean I'm just going to start selling right now? Not yet, because I know that the high time frame, is overall bullish. But this hourly to me was pretty interesting. That was a pretty solid pushback down. That was, 116 tick bearish closure, where, you tried to break out of this resistance, you broke above it, held it, and then you push straight back below. So it's almost like, is this a fake out to continue pushing lower and maybe come back down and retest some of these Asian levels before, we see them all-time highs in Asia? Possible, very, very possible. I'm more open to that than longs right now, unless I get a strong lower time frame breakout, which you can kind of see here. This is why it's, a lot of the time frames are very conflicting today, which does make it a little bit tougher. That's why I was kind of interested to see what you guys are thinking, because like I say, I can kind of see I can see both sides of the markets right now. You are holding some nice intraday support here, but we have to keep in the back of our mind that we are at big resistance, and this is a nice level here around 32.45-ish, where you guys can see you've held this beautifully and pushed lower, held the resistance, pushed lower, and now you tried to break above but aggressively broke back below. you engulfed pretty much 3 hours worth of price action here at 6 a.m. London time. So that's a pretty strong push down to want to buy against that just yet. So if I am going to be buying gold, which I do love, I obviously my preferred bias is long on gold, given the fact that the daily is so bullish. But if I am going to be buying here today on gold, me personally, I need to see a strong 30-minute breakout, and then fantastic. I'll be buying up into these highs, and then all the way back up into these highs, back at 32.50 as well. And if we can close back below this support, great. If we can start breaking back to the downside, we have sells all the way back down into here as well. So very, very neutral until we get probably maybe even this 15-minute close that has, I think it's just come in. How's this 15? You kind of see the 15 kind of, you're holding some resistance, holding some support, trying to break some highs, squeezing a little bit higher. But I personally would love to see a break back above this. And if we do close back above this, once we get back above these areas, you got buyers all the way up into here, which is like 81 ticks. Well, if we can get that at one contract, that's a nice $800 trade. I'm very, very happy to wait for that. And if we can close back below here, sells back down into this resistance is also 80 ticks. So we have 80 ticks if we can close above, and we also have 80 ticks if we can close below. And anything in between, we may have to stay a little bit patient, because this range is much smaller. It's only about 50 ticks. It's much smaller, and there's no real direction. However, if we can actually close back below, we have direction and confirmation of a breakout. Fantastic, we have some really nice sells. And vice versa to the highs. If we can close above, we have some fantastic targets to buy. And who knows, could you see gold tap into all-time highs? Very, very, very possible. Very, very, very possible. Which if you break back above here, that's a 170 tick push. Whether we see that big of a push here in the London session today, we will have to see. We have London Open coming up in about 14 minutes as well, guys. So gold will need a little bit of time until we get this 30-minute breakout. But if we can break out in either direction, I think we have two fantastic opportunities, and we kind of now just need to let the markets come to us. If I had to give a preferred bias, it would be for the daily to pull back a little bit. Come and retrace some of this fantastic move we saw here in Asia. 230 tick push here in Asia. I'd like to see price come and retrace this a little bit. But again, we're not here to trade off what I would like. We'll trade off what the market does based on the closures. So if we can close to the downside, great. We could have some fantastic pullback trades. And who knows, could, like I said earlier, could gold come all the way back down and test these major lows from yesterday? Possibly. There's not that much of a bottom wick on this daily candle. Yesterday closed bearish. Today's pretty much opened and just pushed up. So could we be coming down for more of a daily bottom wick and come down and retest some of these levels, which you have 3,200 as well? It's possible. Very, very, very possible. Like I say, this is why I wanted to ask you guys, where did you think gold was going? Because I can personally see it at both sides. If we do start breaking to the downside here, what have we currently just done? We've just tapped into some nice 30-minute highs, nice little resistance level. So if we can break out from here, great. We have a nice liquidity grab to highs, and then we can see if we can get these shorts. We'll have a look at some other instruments as well, guys. Feel free to send them in. We will have a look at some other markets. I will just briefly show you guys the trades that I did take today. Let me just leave these levels on. Let's do it on a clean chart here. Let's do it on a clean gold chart here. So I got long today on gold. My initial trade was a loss. I initially took. Let me just make sure you guys can see this. I initially took minus $92 on my original buys, and then I got back in and made about 310. So my initial buys here on gold. Now, I actually wanted to get the longs from down here, which I spoke to you guys about. However, I personally hesitated on that trade, and I paid the price because that would have been a fantastic position. That was about 130 ticks, which was incredible. The reason I hesitated is because I wasn't very confident in this range. It was a little bit choppy, but you kind of see you had a beautiful grab the lows and a fantastic breakout. Now, where I got my trade was once I started to see price rejecting from here, without really grabbing anything, then I was like, ah, cool. Well, if you start rejecting from here, that's where I would imagine, you know, similar to what we spoke about here, that's where I would imagine a lot of people are probably trying to jump in these shorts, putting their stop loss just above this high. So that's then where I decided to give longs another try, because I was kind of measuring, you know, although this has had a fantastic push up, I was kind of measuring from like here into here. That's still 70 ticks. Like that's still a great trade. That's like, you know, $700 in one contract. That's still more than enough for me to get my piece here today. So I took some initial longs here on gold at around these lows. And once this 15-minute actually closed against me, I decided to get out of my trade at about minus 9-ish ticks. I decided to cut my initial trade, which you guys can see here, minus $92, because price actually closed against me. So if price closes against me, then that's my reason to exit. It's not to say that these highs are invalid. It's just not valid when price breaks back below a level that I want to see held. But the second we started closing back above, that was like fantastic. I dropped down to the 5-minute and I got long from here up into these highs here for about 31 ticks. So I took it from, I must have got a little bit higher, and here I just took that nice 5-minute breakout, made back my loss and some. So I made back the $92 that I lost earlier because I was happy to cut my trade when I was wrong. But the second that it becomes valid again, I'm straight back in. So only up 200 on the day for me, but yeah, my original trade was down here on gold. This is where I wanted the real buys. Once I saw this grab and these lows and breaking out, this was our liquidity level from the Asian session. You know, I didn't know we were going to come up this high, but I was like, yeah, that would have been a really nice buy there. And that was about, even in that 1 5-minute candle, that was a nice 34 ticks. Very nice. So that was my trade from today. But, you know, I am up 200 on the day, but I personally believe we're going to get much more than that. It's not that big of a trade for me to be like, oh, cool, this is my trade for the day, I'm done. I only got a small piece of it, so I'm happy to maybe risk some of what I have made today to see if we can get another trade here in the London session, which will probably be when we get this London Open 30-minute closure and hourly closure. So we have all of them closures coming up in the next 7 minutes. So if we're going to take another trade here today, that is what I would like to wait for. We'll have a look at other markets as well, guys. We'll have a look at other markets. Hi, Aaron. Good morning. Good morning, Matt. How about NQ? Let's have a look. We have time here on gold. So if you guys remember from our London stream yesterday, we spoke about NASDAQ needing to come up and retest these Asia highs. You didn't quite come up as high as this. However, you did come up and retest these highs very nicely in the New York session, which I was on TopstepTV yesterday with Hogue breaking down all these markets, which was really nice to see. We were seeing very similar things, even though, you know, this isn't something that I trade very often. It was really nice to see these levels playing out here on gold. Sorry, on gold. Got too used to saying gold. So we spoke about this in the London session for price to come up and fill in this Asia high, which you did. Then you had a very nice pullback. So you actually came down and filled in this big gap here as well. So let's have a look at these. Let's have a look at these daily closures. You can kind of see. Remember, we were speaking about this massive monthly and weekly level of support, 1750. I won't do the whole top down again. You guys have, you know, probably know the overall outlook. To me though, this weekly, like this to me still looks like this is a potential bottom wick on this weekly, and this weekly could flip bullish at any point. And you know, you'll look something nice like that. That's how this looks to me. This looks to me like this is pulling back, retesting some levels before then continuing to push higher and coming to grab some highs. So I personally do like the looks of longs overall. A little bit of a doji candle closure yesterday. It did kind of close bearish. We kind of see you haven't really grabbed any highs. So let's drop down. Daily time frame is not really saying too, wow, look at this. Daily time frame is not really saying too much just yet. 4-hour session, 4-hour yesterday. You know, you did find some major resistance, had a nice little sell-off. You're kind of also holding some major support. So yeah, it looks a little bit choppy. I'm not gonna lie, it looks a bit choppy. Kind of similar to gold. Looks very choppy. You kind of got a little trend line coming up here as well, which you could maybe come down and manipulate some of that. But I personally still love NASDAQ buys up into these highs here. I still think that's, you know, a really, really, really nice area. And that's the high of last week as well. If I want to react off that, would I buy right now? I probably want to see a decent breakout. You know, this is a very, 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 very tight range. And if the hourly direction, we've got 5 minutes till this gold close here, so I'm still watching the gold chart. Gold looking like might actually get a breakout soon. If the hourly is closing bullish, bearish, bearish, bullish, doji, bearish, bullish, which clearly tells us there's a lot of chop. There's not too much benefit to me trying to drop down to the lower time frame and trying to, you know, buy and then sell and just kind of getting chopped up all day long. So I would be a little bit careful in here this morning. Let's see what the London Open brings. But if we can break back above this, yeah, I personally like this to squeeze higher. To at least come up and, you know, maybe retest these this resistance here. Is today going to be the day that we have this massive continuation back to these highs? Possibly not. We may just look for something, you know, to maybe come up and retest some of these areas before potentially pulling back a little bit. Before then you see that retracement. But same as gold, you know, there's nothing super clear, and we've kind of been in this range for the entire Asian session all the way into London. So same as what I kind of said on gold is you guys want to be very, very reactive in these markets. Don't try and think too much. You know, if we just get rid of this trend line, have your ranges marked on and understand where you don't want to trade, and understand if you break above or below, you're going to get some nice opportunities. If you break below, you know, you got some very nice sells. If you break above, you got fantastic buys. And anything in between, I'd be a little bit careful. A little bit careful. It's not going to stay in this range all day, so, you know, come onto the charts with zero expectations, and yeah, stay neutral. We'll have a look at ES as well. I imagine ES is probably pretty similar, but this is a very, very tough range here on Nasdaq. You know, there was that lovely breakout, lovely push up yesterday, and a big sell off. You're creating a little bit of space here today. Gold's looking nice. Like we're gonna get a potential breakout here on gold soon. May get a breakout for sales on gold in about 3 minutes. Crude, please. Yep, absolutely. Let's have a look. Let's have a look. So, what did we do? What did we do? We spoke about this on the stream yesterday as well. This was that inverse head and shoulders that we spoke about last week. Here, you guys can see we had this nice left shoulder, big head, nice right shoulder. Had this nice squeeze up yesterday. But let's delete all of this. Let's do some fresh analysis here. What can we see? What's going on? How did we close yesterday? Before we do anything, let's have a quick look at our close yesterday. So, finding some resistance. Again, this looks kind of similar, where this looks like this is a nice top wick for this to potentially come back down and retest some lows. Initial push up here in Asia may give us a little bit of a pullback. Again, just a quick scan. You know, if I was to say to you guys, like, what's the direction? Just, you know, based off the last day or two worth of price action, we haven't really gone anywhere. You do have a nice little trend line coming down here as well, which you could squeeze, but let's stay neutral and let's see it from both sides. You do also have a trend line coming up here as well. So we're getting very, very tight here. We're creating a very, very tight range. Looking like we are going to have a nice breakout soon though. But again, it's looking oil is looking pretty choppy as well. Coming in some big resistance, which I wouldn't really want to be a buyer at. And would I want to be a seller here? Yeah, not really. Again, it's in a very, very tough range here, guys. Very, very tough range. I know sometimes it's not what you want to hear, but sometimes it's good to have that neutral approach and that neutral. Because I don't trade crude personally. I have traded plenty of times in the past, but I like to come in here and give you guys a completely neutral breakdown of the markets. And my completely neutral breakdown here on crude is that we're just in a bit of a tough range, which, like I say, you know, it's not ideal. It's probably not what, you know, you guys want to hear, but sometimes it's just the reality. This is a very, very tight range. If you can break back to the upside, you know, you could come and squeeze some of this trend line. I do believe a lot of people will probably be trying to short here on oil. And based off our inverse head and shoulders, I do like this to squeeze up. So my overall bias is bullish. But on an intraday here for the London, 36 seconds, what we're going to do, what have we just done? We've held some nice support nicely. We then closed doji, and we're now also coming straight into resistance and failing to close above. So it's a little bit tough. It's a little bit tough. I wouldn't like to trade in this range. But if you can break to the upside, you could have a nice little pullback here, where you're back up into 62.20-ish. And if you break back below, you'll probably come down and manipulate some of this trend line as well. So oil is going to have to be one that you're going to, you're going to have to let it come to you. Patience will pay on oil. How did this hourly close on? Nice grab of the highs here. Nice instant top wave. I'm going to see if I can get a sell stop here on gold, guys. I'm going to put. Oh no. I meant to put in a sell stop here, guys. I meant to put in a sell stop on the break of the lows, not market execute. I meant to see if we can get a short on the break of the low. If you guys aren't in this, I was looking to put in a sell stop on the break of the low to see if this can flip bearish and come down. I'm only in it for 3, so I may put in another 2 as a sell stop here. Because that was a pretty nice 30-minute closure there. You came up, grabbed the highs, closed bearish. I like gold to come and have it a little bit of a retracement. I'm going to put a stop in here. I didn't want to market execute just yet. Let me get rid of the sell stop. I've got a lot of levels going on here. But this was a nice 30-minute closure. You came up, grabbed the highs, held resistance. I like this to come down and have a bit of a squeeze here. Let me just have a look. That was also the open of the hourly, which you can see the hourly, you know, again, there's a lot of noise going on here. I like probably just these lows here, probably be a nice target. We had a decent hourly breakout there. The only thing is you are also holding support. You're holding support, you're holding resistance. Let me just have a look at my other chart here. Yeah, I mean, it's a pretty decent hourly rejection. If we can come down and break some lows. If we start closing, I'm going to get rid of this hard TP for a second. If we start closing back above, let's say, and I'm in this very small risk, guys. I don't want to go too big a risk in this because we are choppy. If we close back above this level, you know, my hard stop here is a worst case scenario. However, if price does close back above this level, you know, I'd look to get out there. Yeah, you got that 3, yeah, big level as well, man. Yeah, 100%. Once we start breaking the lows, you know, I can probably look to bring hard stops down as well. But, you know, you closed above this level. You grabbed highs, you closed aggressively back below. So as long as we hold below this, yeah, we could squeeze a little bit lower. The reason I'm only in this for 3 micros is because we are in a little bit of chop. So if we can start re-breaking the lows, you know, I'll look to add in more. But I don't want to go too big just yet. Because like I say, I can kind of see gold from both sides. But I am currently reacting to the fact that, you know, we grabbed highs, we closed back below. Look at that 30-minute. 30-minute close was nice. You know, you came up, grabbed a lot of highs, held the resistance. To come down and maybe retest some of these lows looks pretty nice. Like I say, if you start closing back above, you know, I can look to get out here. So, you know, $30-ish risk. And I would like to look to enter in more as you re-break this low. As this starts to potentially flip bearish, enter more on the low. If it doesn't re-flip bearish, which is where my sell stop was supposed to be, I will just get out. But I meant to actually put in a sell stop here, guys. That's how I like to trade, but I accidentally clicked sell. So I should have the sell stop in below here, but by accident I market execute. But it's not looking too bad, to be fair. So we shall see. A bullish 15-minute closure will be an instant exit. No thought process. No emotions. As soon as it closes against me, I will exit straight away. React to the closures. You grabbed highs, close bearish, react to that. If you close back above, cool, react to that. I'm going to keep stops probably around the body. I wouldn't want to see it come up and test the body. If it was going to drive, it should be driving from here. So I don't need to have hard stops too high. I'm only trading micros here as well, guys, just given the fact that we have been very, very range bound. Let me have a look. I might have to look at the 5-minute here. Yeah, maybe even a 5-minute break back above that I may exit out. This is the level that I want to see held. It is a little bit messy, as you guys can see. But this is the area that I want to see held. So yeah, even a 5-minute closure back above here, I'll be happy to get out and wait. If this 5-minute starts to break its own low from here, then that's a pretty good stop. But let's see. In that trade, where would you base your stops? From the one earlier, same thing. From the buyers earlier here, same thing. I was like, if we start closing back below here, that would be my exit. If we close back below this, that would be my exit. So my stop loss has a hard stop, worst case scenario was here, but my actual stop was going to be here. So I got long here. If this candle had closed back below, I'd be exiting the trade straight away. So I was risking about, let's say about 10 ticks, which is quite nice. Same as this gold trade here. If we start closing back above this area, I'll just exit straight away as well. I like to use a lot of mental stops in my trades, which you guys will see as well. I like to use a lot of mental stops. I use like hard stops to keep me safe as like a worst case scenario, but I like to get out of my trades when they become invalid. So 5 minute holding the resistance there, not the cleanest, not the cleanest. Remember guys, a 15 bullish closure, which is in 15 or 5 minute bullish closure above this zone will be my exit. I should be in from, and this is the reason I like to use these sell stops, because if I have my sell stop below here, I'm not tagged into this trade yet. I'm just waiting for price to flip bearish and push down. And if price doesn't flip bearish and push down, well, this is why I use sell stop, because I'll just delete the sell stop. So if you guys do have that sell stop in, that is the best entry. That's what I meant to put in. And the reason like I say, the reason I like to use them sell stops is because if price doesn't re-break this low and you do just close above and continue to range, well, then I can just cancel the order. So no trade, no loss. Did you get tagged with a one tick wig? Yeah. Yeah, I had it like this. I must have been looking at this. I was like, oh, I'm going to put in a sell stop, and then I just, yeah, market execute. We'll have a look at some other markets here soon as well, guys. I just want to see how this 15 is going to close here on gold. Like I say, guys, I'm in this at very, very low risk. Just because, like, we look at this, if we just clean this all off, say, look at the price action. It does look nice to squeeze lower, but, you know, it is still pretty choppy. It is still pretty choppy. Yeah, I'll have a look at some other markets here soon as well, guys. I just want to see how this 15 is going to close on Goldie. We're trying to re-break the lows. This is the support that I would need to see broken. And I'm looking to see if we can come back down and target some of these areas down here. Which, you know, is a $200 trade. Nothing too crazy. Only 3 micros. In terms of a tick move, it'd be about a 60 tick trade, which is quite nice. I will scale in if I get a reason to do so. I want to see some volume before I scale in. Yes, thank you. Yeah, we'll have a look at them as well. I'll just see how we go with this gold position. Good morning, Aaron. First time on the show. Great content. Thank you, Jesse. I appreciate you tuning in. Much appreciated. Thank you. What is your typical daily P&L target? I honestly don't have targets. I take what the market gives me, to be honest. I don't really set myself like, you know, I never say to myself like, look, today I have to make this much. I'll set myself loss limits, as in like I don't want to lose this certain amount. But I'll never say to myself, you know, I'm coming on the charts today and I need to make $500 today. I never really think like that. I kind of find if I set myself goals, I end up forcing trades. But, you know, on average, if I can catch 20 to 30 ticks a couple of times a week on gold, I'm very happy. So at one contract, that's about 20, 30 ticks is about $200-300 at one contract. And I'm usually copy trading across 4 accounts here on Topstep as well. The only reason I'm not right now is because I have a payout on the way. So I'm back to trading this one account. So yeah, like 20, 30 ticks across, you know, a few accounts is more than enough for me. But if I come on the charts and I don't get a trade for a certain day, yeah, that's okay. I don't really mind. I never really come onto the charts with like, no, I have to make, you know, I have to make $200 say, or I have to take, you know, this much because I'm going to pass my combine today, or I'm going to get my 5 $200 green days to get that payout today. I don't really think like that personally. If the markets give me an opportunity to take a trade today, I'll take it. But if not, I'm also very happy and comfortable to not take a trade. If we come back up to my entry here, guys, I'm going to potentially look to get out of break even. You're kind of holding this support here, which is not really what I want to see. I want to see if we can break this and close with volume, but we're not really getting volume here. So we're holding resistance, holding support, a little bit of a range. So let's see, we've got 33 seconds until this 5 minutes is going to close. If we close like this, I may look to cut out. But let's see, you've got to see the closure. Closures are very, very key on gold. I think here is a hard stop. It's very safe now. So risking, yeah, cool. I'm going break even here, guys. If you're in the sell on the break of the low, well done. 15 minutes coming down, nice and bearish now, starting to re-break the previous 15-minute lows, which is nice. Look at that, nice 15-minute fake out there. Broke above, broke straight back below, holding it, pushing lower. I would have entered in for more if I had more reasons to do so. Maybe a 30-minute closure or a 15. I can enter in my normal size. No, I usually trade 1 mini. Recently, I have traded more micros, which let me show you guys. As soon as we get out of this trade, I'll show you guys my other accounts where I usually just trade just 1 mini. 1 mini copy traded is more than enough. So 1 mini, $10 per tick on gold. So if you get a 20, 30 tick move on gold, $200 to $300. Nice little push down here, guys. This is a, what are we up? Like about, nice 20 ticks here on gold. Nice little push. I'm only, like I said, I'm in very small size. Trying to see if we can come down and squeeze some of this support here and potentially come and test some of this Asia range that we had that massive breakout that we didn't quite come down and retest. So today I traded 5 micros here. This was 5 micros. And then this second position, because I had a better stop, I decided to go in for 10 micros, which is just 1 mini. The reason I went in 10 micros is because I hadn't changed it here and I was already on the chart. So I was like, the position's right there. I want to just, yeah, I want to just take it. Oh, yeah, sorry. Is it cut it off? No, show, thank you. Thank you. Could you reduce your image screen? Probably put it on the right side. Oh, am I in the way? My big face in the way? Is that what you mean? Is my head squashing out of everyone? I think I'm going to try to duck, because if you guys can see it. Or is it alright? I don't really know where else to put it. Because if I put me anywhere else, you might not be able to see me. Sorry, not see me. See more important. Cool. Thank you, man. You get a nice little push here, guys. You're currently hitting around 30 ticks, which is very nice. If I'd taken that at 1 contract, it'd be about 360 right now. I'm only in it for 3 micros because I made a rookie mistake. It's about like this, yeah, cool. I thought so. If I try and put it elsewhere, it will hide off, you know, charts on the side, which is probably more annoying. I thought you guys would like to see me in a big full screen. But yeah, reasons for this trade guide. You're grabbing 30-minute highs. Look at this. You're liquidating 30-minute highs. Nice little evening star play. And then you had a 15-minute fake out. 15 closure above. Instant 15 closure back below. And now you're having a squeeze lower. So a nice fake out trade that we've been talking about for quite some time. If you guys are in this for bigger size than me, this support is a great area to look to secure some. You're coming in some big support here. Let me just have a look at my currency chart. Yeah, you're bringing down Phil in that wick. Nah, that's some good. I'm happy to hold. But this is, you know, like I say, this is a great trade. If you took this at 1 contract, you're hitting like what, 30 ticks, $300, lows of 40 for 400 for an initial. Just a nice little fake out trade. Fake out trade. You broke above. You broke straight back below. My sell stop should have actually been in here, which is where I would have entered full size. Stop as if you get back above this zone. You know, nice little, you know, 1 to 2, something like that. I'm personally going to hold to see if you can squeeze down these lows. It makes sense to me. An initial reaction from this support makes sense. But we have to remember, if we start bouncing from this support, what could that bring in? That could bring in some early buyers. You know, where will they have their stops? Sitting just down below here. That's why, you know, I'd like to hold this down at these lows. Anyone who's trying to buy here on gold, they'll have their stop sitting just down below here. So I would like to potentially look to exit this trade if we can squeeze down these lows. Stop out some early buyers. We're going to get this nice 15-minute closure here as well. Do you guys on Zoom get that as well? If you guys took the break of the low, you probably got a more confirmed entry, which is nice. Very nice. But this is you know, these are the types of moves that we typically see in London. That's you know, that's a 30 tick move. That's a decent move. Yeah, I'm in the flip. Yeah, nice. Still in. Yeah, nice. Good job. Well done, guys. If you're in it for one, yeah, I'd be looking to manage around here. If not, lock it in. I'm in it for 3 micros, so a very, very small position. But, you know, 3 micros, you're still squeezing out like 150, 200, so an extra 200 a day. I am at break even here as well. So getting a nice, pretty decent 15-minute closure there, guys. 30-minute is also pushing down beautifully. Really nice push down there. Any rejection from here could bring in some early buyers. We may get a little bit of a pullback, whether a little bit of drawdown, and then we should be good to squeeze this lower. If it does just completely reverse from here, that's also fine. Could you please explain again how to draw the rectangle box? Yeah. So, I use, where is it? I've lost it now. In here on Topstep X, the rectangle. And I just use it to kind of draw my zones. I just like to go through the wicks. And I just have it so it is, I just have a white border. And then the background, I just have it on very low transparency. And I just like to cut through wicks. You can see here, cut through a lot of wicks. Broke above, broke back below, held it. But yeah, just that tool there on the side. It's probably set to whatever is the first one, which is probably the brush. But if you actually click onto where the brush is, yeah, you got the nice rectangle tool there. It's a nice little support being formed here, guys. Initial reaction before potentially squeezing lower. Newbie question, how do you take partials with micros? No such thing as a silly question, man. So if I'm short 3 right now on gold and I want to close 2, I need to buy it back. So you can buy it back here. Buy back however much you want to lock in. So that nice bounce here, guys. Probably bringing in some early buys here on gold. Let's see if we can squeeze down these lows here. Watching both charts here. Nice little push. Nothing crazy, you know, $129, nothing huge. But in terms of a tick amount, if I had taken this full risk, which I probably should have, I'd be up about $440, which is very nice for a London scalp. I like these 30-minute lows. I'm just going to set an alert here on my trading view chart, so I'm notified when they do get grabbed. Only 17 minutes here into the London Open as well, guys. Coming into some big support as well. Big. Look where the this dotted line is priced right now. Look at these big wicks. These are some big areas. Very, very big areas. Big support. Lots of, you know, breaks above, below. Massive support. So big resistance. Look at this, all the way back from last week as well. So we are coming in some very, very, very strong areas. Very, very strong areas. Oh, look at that. Quick bounce there. Oh, look at that quick bounce there. Look at that. What was that? Just as we're saying that support. That's a 20 tick bounce higher. Look at that. Wow. Couldn't quite squeeze the lows. Interesting. But we are still trading below this level, which is around 32.40. Remember, our bullish bias on gold will come back into play once we get back above here. Back above here, we flip the bias back to bullish. But as long as we hold below this level, we want to see this squeezing lower. 15 minute on the currency. Yeah, nice support. Break even for me. Yeah, break even's good there. Break even's good there. Good management. So I'm happy to hold it personally. But like I said, we do have to remember we are in a little bit of a range. That's why it's kind of tough here on gold. Look at that, coming in some massive support. So I'm kind of accepting. Here's the reason I'm break even. I'm not break even because, you know, I don't want to lose any more money. I'm break even because we're coming into a big level where price could potentially go against me. So if price could potentially go against me at this level, and let's say if I just watch this come up and hit my stop, I'd look back at my trade and I'd go, wow, that was really silly to not manage at this level. Because anything can happen though, you know, although we'd love to see this break and push lower, what we'd love to see and what's going to happen are two very, very different things. So as soon as we hit this major support, when gold is overall very bullish, we have to manage our trade. If we can squeeze it and break a little bit lower, fantastic. But we are, like I said earlier, we're being very, very reactive today. So you manage your trade as soon as you come into stuff. You take the short and you manage as soon as you come into areas. If you can squeeze low and break it, fantastic. We could see some, you know, downside into here, but it's that strong of a level just by looking on the left that you're bound to have an initial reaction from here. You have to have an initial reaction to be able to gain the liquidity to potentially break it. Once I get out of the trade, guys, we'll look at some other markets here as well. We're only about 20 minutes into the London session here. Do you trade gold in the NY session? I do sometimes. A lot of my trades recently, to be honest, have been in Asia actually. A lot of my trades have been in Asia. I mainly focus on Asia and London because New York for me, it's currently about 5:20 p.m. for me here. So New York for me is at like 10 to like 1 a.m. which, you know, I could stay up and trade it. But to be honest, Asia and London has just been that good recently that I haven't really needed to. You know, even here in Asia, you know, we saw a 150 tick push up here in Asia today. So if I get a good trade in Asia and London, then I don't really trade it. Maybe if Asia and London's a little bit quieter like we have seen so far today, then I might be inclined to trade it a little bit more. All right, coming down into the lows here, guys. Beautiful, lovely push into the lows there. Let's take 2 off there. And let's trail this down a little bit aggressively. See if we can squeeze lower. So anyone who was buying off this support, like I said, people buying here, stop sitting down just below that low. So if we start to flip back bullish now that we have grabbed these lows, I'd like to be out here. So any early buys here on gold, saw this initial reaction, tried to jump in longs, sit there, stop just down below the support. They've now just been squeezed out. I only took it a very small size, but you know, I'm already up green on the day, so I don't want to give too much back. If we can push lower, great, we'll see. If not, I am keeping in the back of my mind that we are at that big level of hourly support. So I'm happy to trail aggressively. It wouldn't really make too much sense for me to just leave this open. That was a, you know, what, 50 tick trade? There we go, cool, outfall. So outfall there, guys, 321 here on the day. Very, very nice exit. So reasons for exit, again, this is very, very important. Let me just go down to a lower time frame to show you guys. So reasons for exit is, this is where I was saying, a lot of people are probably trying to jump in some early longs here. Where do they set their stops? Just below this low. So what does price do? Price comes down. Let me just show you guys. Price comes down, liquidates the lows, and now has an instant reaction higher. So that's my reason for exiting that trade, because gold is overall bullish, and this could potentially be a grab of the lows to squeeze back higher. I don't know what's going to happen below these areas, but what I do know is this is a big level where I would imagine a lot of stops are sitting, and I do know it's a big level of hourly support. Therefore, I do want to manage this trade. So we got in at the 15-minute fake out. I believe we got in from here, somewhere like that. I think we got in from about there. Very little drawdown, and we got out right at these lows here as well. So pretty decent trade, small size, but 321 a day. It adds another 200 green dollar day to this account here on Topstep. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we are eligible for the next payout on here. So I will absolutely take it. Good position though. No, like I say, no crazy size. If you guys did take this, even just one contract, at one contract, you know, you're squeezing out $500. Look at that, beautiful. $500 tuning into a London live stream. Very nice little scalp there, guys. Very nice little scalp. If you guys did take it, well done. Even if you didn't, but you guys learned something, that's the most important thing. What I don't want you guys to do is just sit here. Am I back? Sorry guys, I lagged out there for a second. Am I back on? You guys can hear me all good? I don't know what happened there. Am I back? Gold doesn't, the market makers are obviously watching the stream. Can you guys on YouTube hear me again? Am I back? Yeah, it's back. Oh, awesome. Yeah. The market makers are watching the stream. They don't want us to win. How ridiculous. Yeah, sorry guys. I don't know what happened there, but we're back. I was just saying it wasn't super simple in terms of the volume, but the actual entry was very simple. Because what was the reasons for this trade? The reasons for this trade was we had a grab of some 30-minute highs. We had a nice hourly breakout. we formed this nice evening star that we've been speaking about for the past week, and we had some nice support down here to come back down and retest as well. So, and we also had a nice 15-minute fake out. What I mean by a 15-minute fake out is if we just grab this line here, we had a 15-minute closure above this resistance, and then we instantly closed straight back below. So a breakout and then a closure straight back below, that is a 15-minute fake out, but it's also a nice 30-minute rejection. So look at that, beautiful 30-minute grab of the highs, 15-minute fake out. As soon as this candle closes, that's your confirmation candle, that's your entry candle. Where do you look to exit the trade? At a nice level of support and a previous level where anyone who's jumping in longs, they're sitting stops just down below these lows. So yeah, good trade. Like I say, even if you guys didn't take it, that's not the purpose of these streams. The purpose of these streams is just to show you guys that what we are saying consistently works, and hopefully you guys can take them on your own time. So yeah, it's a pretty decent call there. So we can have a look at some other markets as well here, guys. I do, there is the potential for gold to still squeeze down into these areas down here, which was my original bias. However, I look at this hourly level and I'm like, before these were wicks, these were, big bullish candles. Before this was, a nice big wick, it was one big bearish candle. So this is looking like one big bearish candle now, but at any point, this could wick all the way back up and hold this support and still squeeze higher. So I would continue to sell gold all the way back down into these areas on an actual, more confirmed higher time frame breakout. So we could potentially get another entry to squeeze down because, you do still have, about another 60 ticks down into the lows, which is great. Still plenty of room to take this lower. But I'd like to see a little bit more of a breakout. Where are you from? I am from a very small place called Jersey in the Channel Islands. Very, very small place just off the UK, but I live in Australia now, so it's 5:30 in the evening for me. 8:27 London time. So I like doing these streams in the evening. Yeah, I'm originally from the UK. I've lived in Australia for about 2 years, 2.5, 3 years, which is crazy. Trading times, they can, I guess you could say they could be a little bit tough here, but like I say, oh, sorry guys, you guys couldn't hear me. That's the reason that I love to trade Asia and London, because it gives fantastic trades in my time zone, and that's the reason I also love to trade gold. It's because gold gives great opportunities in Asia. You had nice buys here today in Asia. You've had nice sells here today in London, and you'll probably still get more volume in New York as well. You're just trying to squeeze out your piece of the pie. So that's the reason I do love gold. Yeah, let's have a look at. We can have a look at Nasdaq. I think. How long we got for this 30-minute close? 2 minutes. 2 minutes. Oh wow, look at that, squeezed higher. Look at that, breaking out of the range, very, very aggressively. So I would say you probably come down for a nice little bottom wick, and I think you probably squeeze up into this resistance. I need to practice these drawings. That's not a very good drawing. But that's a pretty decent breakout there. It's the first confirmation of a breakout. It's the first confirmation of volume. So I'd like this to squeeze up into this resistance. Anyone still holding any runners on gold? Look at that. What a push. The reason I trailed so aggressively is just because we were coming into this big support. But if you guys are holding any runners on gold, I would just hold a small position. But these areas down here, back into like 32-ish, looks like a nice level now. Especially this support here. This support from that Asian session where you broke out and held it, so I took my buys earlier. This would be a good level as well. Who knows? Because we are pretty range bound today, could you bounce off this support, come and retrace a lot of this move? You don't want to give back too much of your profits and then maybe hope that it squeezes lower? Not really. We're intraday trading. We're not swing trading, so be happy with your gains. But if you do have some runners, yeah, these areas look like a pretty decent level. I left and came back thinking I'd done something. Yeah, sorry, that was my bad. I didn't realize. I think it was when it kicked it out. You've got a beautiful background. Thank you. It's I'm at home today. I usually stream from my office, but I'm at home today. because my Wi-Fi at the office has been funny, but hopefully it'll be back up tomorrow. Really nice push there on gold, you guys. Really, really nice push. Hey, if anyone doesn't have any questions about that trade, you know, the entry, the exits, feel free to let me know. Prepared to give up Asia when you move back to UK? I know that's the big question. When I'm here, I sometimes get fear of missing out in the New York session. Now that I'm going to be going back to that side of the world, I'm probably going to get fear of missing out in the Asian session, because Asia has been beautiful recently. Like I said, if I show you guys my London account here, a lot of these trades are Asia. A lot of these trades have been the Asian session. So yeah, Asian session has probably been the best for me. So yeah, I probably will get a little bit of FOMO in the Asian session. You can't win sometimes, can you? But no, that's the thing, you know, I don't really like to trade too many sessions. I honestly, I feel like I trade better the less time I spend on the charts. So I mainly try and, you know, other than when I'm sat on here streaming with you guys, I try not to sit here and watch this all day, because sometimes it can be too detrimental to just sit here and stare at the charts all day long. So I try and take my piece, and, you know, and that's like, you know, with a lot of my trades on gold, I am trading 30-minute confirmations. So I don't have to sit here and, you know, watch this 30-minute close, this, you know, I can see that we're in a little bit of a range. So all I do is wait for the price to actually break out, and then great, then I drop down to the lower time frame, and then I get my trade. For instance, here today, you know, I could have just waited for this 30-minute to close back below. As soon as I see this closure, then cool, I'm like, let me fire up the charts and let me see if I can actually get this short. What you guys don't want to do is just sit there and watch the charts for, like, you know, 10 plus hours every single day, looking for live positions every single day. If you want to look at the charts that much, you know, use that time to actually do some back testing, build some chart time, because sitting there watching, you know, markets go sideways isn't what is going to help you guys actually progress. So I like to, you know, see my 30-minute closures. As soon as I get my confirmation, cool, that's when I jump on the charts and see if I can get my execution. That's a lovely, lovely push down. You guys on YouTube, drop a little like for the stream here on the Topstep YouTube channel. Let's grow these London Open streams. And we'll continue to take more trades together. I think this was the first actual trade we have taken together, which is a very nice one. Very, very nice one. Like I say, you guys are, you know, you're gonna see me take wins, you're gonna see me take losses, you're gonna see me manage my trades, you're gonna see me exit my trades, and there's a lot of value in just sitting here. You know, don't blindly follow the trades, but actually sitting here watching someone actually explain the whole entire thought process. That's the real takeaway here. Could you please explain how you take entry in a trade? I mean, what you look for before clicking buy or sell? Yeah, sure. So again, this is just my plan. The biggest things that I need is this is like in order as well. I need clear targets, and I just need a breakout. So these are the main three things that I want to see. Let me just change this a little bit. These are the three things I want to see in pretty much all of my trades. I want to see a liquidity grab for entry, and I want to see clear targets, and I want to see a breakout. Oh, copper pushing, nice. We'll have a look at copper as well. So number one of this trade is here. This is number one for this short here today. This is number one. This is number two. I have targets. I know where I'm trading into. And this right here was my number three, which is my breakout. So I have a nice grab with some highs, which I refer to as my liquidity grab. I have a nice downward side target, and I have a nice breakout with volume. And that is pretty much it. And exactly the same as the trade I took here today in the Asian session. I'll show you, I had my number one. This was my higher time frame liquidity grab. My number two was these higher time frame targets, which was actually these highs to the left. So I had these highs all the way up here. I had my targets. Then I had number three, which was my breakout here, this breakout here. And that is pretty much it. It is as simple as that. A lot of look at gold still pushing it, guys. You guys, anyone got any runners here? You guys are booming, making absolute bang. That is a very, very, very nice push. Really, really nice push. what are you hitting lows of? You're hitting lows of around, what's that? 70, 80 ticks. Wow, amazing. That's everything I look for. I try and keep it super simple. Super simple, but just understanding the way that gold likes to move. And that's what I've just seen happen so often on gold. I see these beautiful grabs at the highs and lows before this real push down. And I focus on good execution. What you guys need to become good traders is the ability to actually execute. If you see a setup, you think it's following your plans, there's no thought process. There was no thought process of if I should take this trade or not. My trade is right there. I have to take this trade. It's right there in front of me. If I didn't take this trade and I missed this, I'd be, trying to revenge trade down here and get, stuck in tricky situations, and that's where everyone goes wrong. The people miss out on this nice big sell, and they know they should have been shorting this and getting out here, but they miss that short, and then all of a sudden they start revenge trading down here. Whereas for me, if I miss this big trade down, what I won't do is sit here and watch it. I'll wait for the next opportunity, and I'll stay patient. But what I will do is if I see my entry confirmations and my plan setting up, I'll take it, win or loss, who cares? I have to trade my plan. How do you catch a breakout on time? Well, that's the thing, the markets, and this is for gold anyway, gold doesn't, and most markets, they don't move as quick as you actually think. Like for me here on gold, like this 15-minute breakout here, that was the confirmation. That was the first confirmation that sign is actually, that what I'm thinking is actually correct. So as soon as this actually closes, this is my confirmation candle. Fantastic. This confirms that what I'm thinking is correct. And then this is my entry candle. Same as here today. This was my confirmation candle. That was my breakout. And then this one's my entry candle. We'll have a look at ES. Let's have a look. He's still squeezing higher. Yeah, look at that. He's still squeezing higher. Did NASDAQ come down for that bottom wick as well? Yeah, kind of. He's still squeezing higher. So you had a pretty decent 30-minute breakout. Now you're continuing to squeeze higher, looking like you're going to come and hold some of these zones here. So you had a nice little breakout there. There's your breakout confirmation. So there's your confirmation of volume, your confirmation of direction, and then this is your entry candle here. This is the one you want to be taking. You don't want to try and predict the markets down here. You want to wait for the markets to come to you. Again, this is just how I like to trade. I like to let the markets break out. Show me that we have volume. Show me that we have direction. And then this is the candle that I want to be taking my trade on. Not down here, not trying to take shorts, then trying to take longs. Let the markets come to me. Whereas most people, when they see this big push up, they're like, oh no, I've missed the move. Like, what did I do wrong? I've missed it. No, this is what you want to see. You want to see the volume confirmed. You want to see the price actually breaking out. And then you want to get your trade. So this looks nice to squeeze a little bit higher. Let me just turn that down. Sorry, maybe a little bit too loud. There we go. Same as ES. Looks like it's squeezing back up into some nice resistance levels. Again, you had a nice little breakout there. ES is probably looking cleaner actually. That was, if I'm going to take a range trade, I want to do it at a good point. That was a beautiful morning star play, which is very similar to the gold trade. You rejected, you grabbed the lows, held the support. Really nice push there. So I think this was looking much cleaner than what the NASDAQ would have been looking like. Now you're probably trying to squeeze some back up into some of these areas. Really, really, really nice push there. And you're now coming back into previous 30-minute highs. And on the hourly time frame, you're also now right back at some big resistance levels. Oh, look at that. That was what we spoke about yesterday, guys. To come up and grab these highs. So anyone who was trying to short here yesterday, where would they look to sit their stops? Probably just above this high. So what did price do? Price came up, grabbed the highs, and then you had that nice push down. So we're looking like we're coming back into some pretty strong area again. Pretty strong areas, which could give you a little bit of a pullback. Maybe bring in some sellers and see if you can squeeze this higher. We'll just have a quick look at gold. Make sure we're not missing any re-entries. Because I do still see some more downside on gold. But yeah, the thing is, we are at, like I say, on gold, big levels, big levels. So let's be a little bit patient on gold. Have a look at copper. I know you guys said copper was breaking out. You had a really nice push up yesterday on copper. Look at this. This was the zone that I said to you guys, if you're shorting this head and shoulders, this is the level that you would want to be managing your position, because we could easily hold this and squeeze higher. So we have broken out beautifully, came nice and low yesterday. It had a fantastic squeeze higher. And you're already breaking back out again here today. Look at this. So you're looking like you're going to have some nice fake out buy opportunities here, very similar to gold. You broke below this level, you held it, and now you're squeezing straight back higher. So you're actually, you kind of already got it, to be honest. Look at that. There, you broke below, broke back above, held it. Nice little fake out buy opportunity there. Here again, you broke below, held it, pushed lower, broke straight back above, and now you're already squeezing higher. So I would like to see a pullback from here, and then see if you can squeeze higher. I wouldn't really want to be selling copper. That was a nice fake out buy. That was actually kind of similar to gold, but in the opposite direction. That was a nice opportunity because you broke below this support, you held it, pushed lower, failed to break back below here, and then had this lovely breakout here. So that would have been a very, very nice trade. And what was that? And copper moves more than gold. Copper moves at 12.50 per tick. So what's that? That's a 50 tick move. It's a very, very nice move here as well. Getting some nice London Open moves today, guys. Very, very nice moves. I do use order flow, Aaron. Not really for gold, to be honest, man. Gold I find just moves well, just trading just price action. But if you're trading other instruments like NASDAQ or the S&P, it's pretty useful to look at it. But for the way I trade gold, I like to use just pure price action. Pure price action on gold. That's what I find works the cleanest. Perspective on runners. It depends on, I personally don't hold massive runners very often. But again, it depends on what was my plan going into the trade. You know, my plan going into this trade was to sell here and look to exit down here. If price pushes all the way down here, you know, do I get frustrated that I didn't hold runners? Well, not really, because that wasn't my plan going into the trade. This to me was just a very short-term scalp down in some lows before continuing to range. So, you know, if I had planned to short here and, you know, was planning to hold it down here, yeah, maybe I'd probably, you know, look to close some here and hold some more runners down into here. And it depends on what market are you in. Like, what market are we in right now on gold? I'd say we're in pretty range bound markets. So there's nothing to say that, you know, gold can't just, you know, create some big ranges before potentially squeezing lower, and, you know, you end up just getting stopped out on all your runners. But if the markets are trending like they were last week, then, you know, you're cool. You're understanding what phase of the market's in. And last week we were in some fantastic trending markets. So you could maybe, you know, look to hold runners on these days a lot more. So when I look at the markets during these days, there's a high chance that if I'm holding runners on this and we're in a big over range, they're probably going to get stopped. So for me personally, I would rather just look to lock in my trade full. But on days like this, you know, when we're trending, and if gold starts trending, looking like we're going to break new all-time highs, then great, you know, I can look to hold some runners. If we're looking like we're going to start trending again. But today is a little bit of a range-bound day, so I was happy to take my trade and exit full. So try and understand what kind of phase of the markets are we in. And then if we're in a little bit of consolidation, you know, the likelihood is you're probably going to create some big ranges, and I don't really want to see my runners just get stopped at break even, or, you know, maybe start trailing aggressively like I did. So I trailed my runners aggressively because I was going to exit here anyway. So if my runners get me where I'm trailing, well, I was going to close full anyway. Most of the time, I'm usually just trading one mini contract, so I do prefer just to close full. But yeah, it's when I'm day trading here on Topstep. I personally, I like to have my entry, I like to have my exit. Just my personal approach. If you're trading, again, if you're trading something like NASDAQ can have much bigger trending pushes than gold. So it's just understanding your instrument as well. Like this, you know, like you get these huge moves on NASDAQ. You don't see these huge moves on gold very often. On gold, you kind of see more, you know, more moves like this before these pushes down. So it's kind of maybe a little bit harder to hold the bigger runners. But I'm always happy with my entry and my exit. Sometimes when gold has a huge move, I think, oh wow, I'd love to hold some runners. But if I've executed my plan and I've exited where I said I would exit, yeah, I'm pretty happy. So to set some alerts for the next trade, good question. What I would be looking at here is you have this hourly closure in about 15 minutes, and we are at a very, very big make or break level. Like I said, you guys, you know, before these were massive wicks, these were huge bearish candles, massive bearish candles. And if you had tried to chase these shorts before actually breaking back below the support, you would have got stopped out. So right now on gold, you know, although it's looking like we are going to break below this support, at any point this could wick up. So if I was going to look for a next trade here on gold, what I would actually like to see is a decent closure below this support, And if you do get a nice hourly closure, sorry, where have we gone? If you do get a nice hourly closure below, even like this, if it closes around here, that's still good. I would then be looking for a nice top wick and then to see if I can squeeze this back down into these areas. But we are at a very, very big make or break level right now, guys. So be waiting for, if you do want the next trade on gold, if you didn't maybe get this short for whatever reason, if you are looking for the next opportunity, yeah, I'd be looking for an hourly breakout because we're coming into some big, big, big levels. Big levels. So I wouldn't really set, I wouldn't really need to set an alert. I would more so just be, you know, monitoring the time on my phone and be like, okay, it's 1:45. Let me come back in 15 minutes and see if gold's actually broken out. Does it have to close below or above the body or the wick? Just, yeah, it has to be a body closure. A body closure below. Not like a wick. Like for me, if it's, you know, this is looking really bearish. It's looking like you're very likely going to get this. So what I'd like to see is this. If you guys are going to keep trading for the rest of the London session, what I would like to see is this close like this. You get that nice top wick, instant top wick, and I'd look to short from this area, manage around these highs, and then potentially see if you can squeeze a little bit lower. But an actual body closure back below this support looks good to see if you can squeeze it down lower. And like I say, you know, there's nothing to say gold can't squeeze all the way back down to this support today. There's not much of a daily bottom wick here. Look at this daily. Could this daily all of a sudden start coming all the way back down to the open and coming back down to retest some lows? Yeah, very, very possible. Very, very possible. But let's worry about that once we actually do close below this support. Try not to think too much about what could happen. Let's trade what's right in front of us. And what is right in front of us is that we are at this big level of support. If we close it in 30 minutes, fantastic. You can probably look to continue selling it. But let's let that come to us. Don't jump the gun too quick. Hi Aaron, love your show. Watching from Amsterdam. Thank you, Danny. Appreciate you tuning in. What would you recommend for ES and NQ order flow? Probably tune into the Topstep TV guys, to be honest, on the New York session. They are much more knowledgeable on NASDAQ and ES. I'm not very experienced on that side, to be honest, man. I like to just trade just gold and just price action, but them guys are much more experienced like that, and you can see all the tools they use on the New York stream as well. Look at this gold here, just continuing to push down. It kind of came right down into our Asia zone as well. Now, one thing to note here as well, guys, if you come down too low, you need to make sure that the shorts are actually worth it, because your next short management point would be these highs here. So if it starts closing here, you don't want to short here, then as soon as you come into this level, you get stopped out. If you want to short gold to continue playing this range, you want to do it up here at the resistance. You don't want to sell here, because if you sell here, you know, you're selling right into a nice level of resistance, which could easily have a nice little retracement before then having a bigger sell-off later on. Corn and wheat, yeah, what is the ZW? Let's have a look. I don't think I've ever looked at this chart. Let's have a look. I think I've ever looked at this. I'm never entirely sure how it moves. I'll give you a neutral perspective as to how I would also look at gold. Remember guys, D is coming on straight after me as well, so be sure to stay tuned here on the Topstep YouTube channel. Weekly breaking above a nice level. Looking like you have some nice resistance sitting above as well. I would say last week's, what's my charts doing? I would say last week's high looks like a pretty decent target. Again, I've never traded this before, so take my outlook with a pinch of salt. I've never traded wheat in my life. Nice support being held, nice weekly rejection. Looking like you come for a bit of a squeeze higher. What's the 4 hours saying? 4 hour, have a nice little bounce off this resistance, which is cool. I would be looking at these highs here as a potential region where people shorting here, stops above here. So yeah, I like this to squeeze higher personally. Entry confirmation, I'm not too sure how it moves, so I wouldn't want to say. But let's say if I was looking at this at the same perspective of gold, I would like this area to maybe pull back and see if you can squeeze this higher. I like this to, yeah, have a little bit of a bounce. Looks like it moves pretty nice, to be honest. These some pretty nice moves. How much is this? This is a, yeah, nice little, very nice bounce there. Very, very nice bounce. Now remember, guys, we'll be live here on the Topstep YouTube channel up until Thursday this week as well. We do have a long weekend this week. Look at this. See, it looks like you know, this is why closures are so important on gold, guys. If you try and chase this before the closure, before you know it, like I said, before these were all massive wicks, these were huge bearish candles, and if you had chased this, you would have got stopped out. So if you do want to sell gold here, you have to see that hourly actually close nice and bearish. Otherwise, if you jump the gun too soon, you could get squeezed out. You could get squeezed out. You got some nice, oh, look at this. Nice trendline liquidity here as well, guys. So what would we imagine most people are probably trying to do? Maybe something like this. Now, that doesn't mean you can't have a decent pullback first, though. You could still pull back off this trendline, bring in a lot of buyers before then, squeezing this lower. I would imagine a lot of people are probably trying to buy this trendline here on gold. Sorry, just, yeah, you said that as well. Yeah, potential trendline. So if most people are looking at this trendline, I would imagine most people are probably trying to buy. Which if most people are trying to buy, you can maybe get an initial squeeze higher. And then to come down and actually short some of this trendline. Looks pretty nice. Looks pretty nice. So I'm thinking about 320 on the day, just trading micros here today on gold. How have my stocks been? Stocks have been good actually, man. Stocks have been good. I'm still I'm not fully invested yet, but I do have a lot of holdings in some stocks, which, you know, it looks like. That's why I'm kind of keeping an eye on the Nasdaq to see if, you know, this is going to be, and this is why this weekly closure is going to be so key, to see if this is going to be, you know, start of a decent retracement high. You know, I'm not looking for my stocks to, you know, hit huge all-time highs. I'm looking for some, you know, some decent pullback opportunities. You know, like 10-20% on a lot of these stocks is looking good, looking very good. I haven't bought any more just yet, but I am ready to, if we can dip lower. I trade my my stock plays more longer term. Let's have a look. What we got? We're coming up to about coming to almost 9 AM here, guys. So we're still on for another 10 minutes, you guys. Great trade so far here today. Look at UB. Yep, absolutely. Look at the bonds. Let's have a look. Let's have a look. I know you have been. Look at that big sell-off. Big sell-off. Look at this. So you're having that decent bounce on the stocks, but again, look at that. You're coming into some huge areas as well. Massive areas. On an intraday perspective, yeah, you may kind of retrace a little bit higher. May come up and retest these highs. Yeah, I've never really broken this down too much. Fundamentals will be a big key here, but yeah, I would say is to see if you can come up and squeeze high. You kind of bounce off massive levels of highs here, also massive levels of lows. So I would like it to see if you can continue squeezing high today in the New York session. Looking to long gold from 15-minute FVG. What do you think? I don't use them personally, but let's have a look. Looking to buy on the 15. I mean, personally, you know, you're about to get this hourly closure in about 7 minutes. So personally, I would wait for that. If I want to buy gold, again, this is just me personally. Don't let me talk you guys out of what you are seeing. But for me personally, you have a nice level of resistance here. Big resistance, massive support, huge support, support, massive resistance. Well, you've just broken through that level with a very nice short of 70 ticks. So if I do want to buy gold, again, this is just me personally. I personally would rather see a closure back above here, and then I'd be seeing if I can squeeze gold back up into these highs up here. So for me personally, this wouldn't be enough for me to want to buy. I would want to see a decent breakout. You know, I wouldn't want to give back this trade just yet. I don't want to get too trigger happy here. So I'd rather see a closure back above, which if you do close back above here, you know, you confirm the breakout, which your price is trading below this level. So be reactive to that. But if you can close back above, you know, you have a nice 90 tick retracement on the cards there. So it's easy to think, oh no, like I'm gonna miss the move. So no, if you break back above here, you have a minimum 90 tick trade. So Me personally, I would be much more comfortable waiting for that. Which if you can close, if this 30-minute close is nice and bullish, remember guys, what's that hourly going to be doing? This is the last 30-minute of the hourly, so before even looking at it, we know that this is the open of the hourly, this is the low, this is going to be a pretty nice wick rejection. See? Wick rejection of this massive support. That's what I'm saying, guys. I don't want to get short here on gold until you close back below this level. So if you can't close back below, cool. 30-minute fake out buys again, back above here. And that looks like a good trade again. And I'll be looking at these highs up here. So I was going to look for another trade there to see that if gold can actually close below the support. If we can't close below the support, I think buys on the break back above, let's say on the future chart here, about 32.40. Looks like a pretty good continuation level. Let me just see here. So we've had a very, very nice short here today, guys. I'm ending up the day $320 on this account. I will leave you guys there. Very, very nice short today here. Great trade. If you guys did take it, well done. Even if you didn't, but you also learned something, amazing. Great exits there as well. You may get some continuation buys later on as well. Remember, guys, D will be on straight after me as well. But I appreciate you guys taking the time to tune in. Fantastic trade here this morning. And I'll see you guys same time again tomorrow, 7:30 till about 9 a.m. London time. Trade safe for the rest of the day, guys. And I'll see you tomorrow. Trade safe, guys. Thank you for tuning in. I'll see you guys next time. Peace.